Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Nigro with another Physics Fundamentals screencast. This one's going to be focused on calculations involving acceleration. All right, now remember, acceleration is defined as changing velocity. All right, and that change in velocity can come in two different ways. The speed of the object could change, or the direction of that object. So if you imagine yourself in your car, there's really three ways to adjust your speed, to change your velocity, to accelerate that automobile. You can press on the gas pedal, that's going to increase your speed, thereby changing your velocity. Or you can step on the brake, which will decrease your speed, thereby changing your velocity. Or you can turn the steering wheel, which will adjust the direction of travel, which will also change your velocity. If any of those three things happens, then we say that that car is accelerating. All right, now because we're talking about changing velocity, acceleration is also a vector quantity, which means we need to include the direction. That tends to happen in the form of signs, but you can also use north, south, east, west, forwards, backwards, up, or down. All right, and then for units, we have meters per second squared. Sometimes you might also see it as meters per second per second. All right, so that unit tells me the formula. All right, so the acceleration of an object is equal to the change in its velocity divided by the time over which that change occurs. So again, just like speed, just like velocity, it's a rate of change. All right, now we don't tend to use the delta V very often. We break it out into the final minus initial. All right, so instead we say acceleration is the final velocity minus the initial velocity divided by the time. And this is the formula we use most often. Now, a very handy rearrangement of this formula is to find the final velocity. All right, so that's going to be equal to your initial velocity plus acceleration times time. So we're going to see these two formulas quite a bit. Now, you might say, well, where is displacement? I mean, how do I know how far the car or object has moved during this acceleration? So if you want to include displacement, all right, which we indicate as delta x, all right, a formula that is very useful is the displacement is equal to the initial velocity times time plus 1/2 times its acceleration times time squared. All right, and again, remember that delta x is the final position minus the initial. So we can always go back and figure out where the object started or where it ended up if we need to. All right, so let's try a couple problems. These are pretty straightforward. All right, we're going to start with some simple ones. We're going to have four variables: v initial, v final, acceleration, and time. So I like to keep track of what my numbers are. All right, so you're driving on Route 2 East at 45 meters per second when the car in front of you slams on their brakes. It takes you 3.1 seconds to come to a complete stop. What was your acceleration? All right, so our unknown is going to be the acceleration. So that means the other variables must be in the problem somewhere. So I'm driving on Route 2 at 45 meters per second. So that's my initial velocity. All right. The car in front of me slams on my brakes and it takes me 3.1 seconds to come to a complete stop, which means my final velocity must be 0. All right, you need to watch out for those words: complete stop, constant, from rest. They give you clues as to what is happening in the problem. All right, so now we use our formula. Acceleration is v final minus v initial over time, and that's going to be equal to 0 minus 45 meters per second divided by 3.1 seconds. So we have an acceleration here of negative 14.5 meters per second squared. All right, now that negative sign's fine, all right, because we're slowing down. All right, the car is moving forward, but the acceleration is negative, so that tells us they're working against each other. We have to be slowing down. And we're going to talk a lot about that when we deal with the graphs. Okay? All right. Let's try this next one. You jog up to Leary Field moving at 4.5 meters per second. You realize you are late, so you sprint the rest of the way, speeding up at 2.1 meters per second for 3.2 seconds. What was your final velocity? All right, so we have v initial, v final, acceleration, and time. We are initially moving at 4.5 meters per second. The time is 3.2 seconds. And then we have this 2.1 meters per second, and that is our acceleration. Our unknown is going to be v final. All right, so I'm going to use the rearranged formula. All right, now if you want to just use your acceleration formula, plug everything, and then solve for v final, that's perfectly fine. I just like to use the rearranged one. So we get 4.5 meters per second for our initial velocity plus our acceleration, 2.1 meters per second squared, times 3.2 seconds. All right, we plug everything into our calculator, and we find that our final velocity here should be 11.2 meters per second, which is a reasonable answer because we are speeding up, so it should be greater than our initial velocity. All right. All right, for number 3, a train is moving to the east at 75 meters per second. It speeds up at a rate of 3.5 meters per second squared. How long will it take the train to reach a velocity of 125 meters per second? All right, so this time we're asked how long, which tells me I'm looking for time. All right, so I have v initial, v final, acceleration, and time. Our v initial is 75 meters per second. Our final velocity is 125 meters per second, and we're increasing our speed at 3.5 meters per second squared. All right, now I'm going to take my acceleration formula, v final minus v initial over t, and I'm going to rearrange it to solve for time. So time's going to be v final minus v initial over acceleration. All right, then I'm going to plug in my values. So I have 125 meters per second minus 25 meters, oops, nope, not 25, 75. 75 meters per second divided by my acceleration of 3.5 meters per second squared. All right, I plug all that into my calculator, and I find that this acceleration is going to take me 14.3 seconds. All right, now let's try one that's got distance in it. All right, a drag racer starting from rest speeds up for 402 meters with an acceleration of 17 meters per second squared. What was his final velocity at the end of that 402 meters? All right, so we've got v initial, v final, acceleration, time, and that change in position, delta x. All right, what do we know? We know the change in position was 402 meters. I know that the acceleration was 17 meters per second squared. I started from rest, so initially I had a 0 velocity, all right? And I'm trying to figure out what that final velocity is, all right? Now, this one's a little tricky because we actually are missing 2 pieces of information. We don't know the time, all right? So the first thing we're going to try and figure out is the time. How long was this acceleration? All right, so to do that, I'm going to use my change in position is equal to v initial times time plus 1/2 acceleration times time squared. Now, this is handy because the initial velocity is 0, so that first bit goes away. So I end up with 402 meters equal to 1/2 of 17 meters per second squared times my unknown t squared. All right, so I'm going to multiply 17 by 1/2, then divide that to the other side, and then I have to take a square root of both sides. And once I do that, I find that the time was 6.9 seconds for this train to accelerate. All right, now that I know the time, I can find v final. All right, and I'm just going to use my v final formula. V final equals v initial plus acceleration times time. And again, because v initial is 0, that goes away. So v final is going to be equal to my acceleration times the time. All right, plug that into my calculator, and I find that once the drag racer is fully accelerated, they're moving at 117.3 meters per second. All right, so that one's a little tricky because you had to find time and then find v final, and that's going to happen sometimes. So if you're missing a second variable, you may have to find one first before you can answer the question. All right, now for our last problem, we're going to look at a speedboat. All right, the speedboat engine is moving, well, the speedboat, not its engine. The speedboat is moving at 13.5 meters per second to the west. The engine is then turned off, and the boat slows down at a rate of 5 meters per second squared. All right, question number one is how long does it take the speedboat to come to rest? All right, so we've got v initial, v final, acceleration and time, and I'm just going to put delta x here just in case. All right, so initially we're moving at 13.5 meters per second, and we want to come to rest, which means v final is going to be 0. All right, now we are slowing down. So we're moving forward, but slowing down. So my acceleration is 5 meters per second squared, but it's negative because it's going in the opposite direction of the motion, which is causing everything to slow down. All right, so to find time, all right, I rearranged this earlier. Time is v final minus v initial over acceleration. All right, so I've got 0 for v final minus 13.5 meters per second divided by negative 5 meters per second squared. All right, so once I calculate that out, I find the time is 2.7 seconds. Now, if I had not put my acceleration in as a negative value, I would have gotten a negative answer here. Time can never be negative. If you work your math and you find that time is negative, you've dropped a sign somewhere. You need to go back and look. All right, so now we know the time. We're going to go down to part B, how far. All right, so now we're looking for delta x. Okay, so I think using the delta x formula, which is v initial times time plus 1/2 acceleration times time squared, works great here. All right, so delta x is going to be equal to 13.5 meters per second times 2.7 seconds plus 1/2 negative 5 meters per second squared times 2.7 seconds squared. All right, if we plug that in, finish up our math, don't forget this 1/2 portion on the right is going to be negative, so you're going to subtract that at the end. You should end up with 18.23 meters. So that's how far the boat drifted as it bled off that speed and came to rest. All right, now there is another formula. Now this is not one that we tend to use in physics, but honors physics does use it sometimes, so I'm going to include it here. All right, the other way to solve this problem is to use the formula v final squared equals v initial squared plus 2 times the acceleration times the change in position, the displacement. All right, this one's actually a little easier because you don't even need time for this one. All right, we know the final velocity is 0. All right, we know the initial velocity is 13.5 meters per second. We're going to square that. And then we're having 2 times our acceleration of negative 5 meters per second squared times our unknown, delta x. All right, so if we start working our math, we're going to get 182.25 for the squared portion. That'll be meters squared second squared plus negative 10 meters per second squared times our delta x. All right, so we need to move one of these to the other side. All right, I'm just going to take the delta x and move it to the other side. So that negative becomes positive. So now it's 10 meters per second squared times our delta x. And that will equal to 182.25 meters squared second squared. If we divide both sides by 10, we're going to end up with delta x. One of these meters squared will cancel, leaving a meter. The second squared will cancel the second squared. So we end up with 18.25, oh, not 25, sorry, 18.23 meters. All right, and if you look above, you can see that's the exact same answer we got using the other formula. So there are more than one way to solve some of these problems, and this is an example of that. All right, so again, acceleration, vector quantity, measures the change in velocity of an object, either by speeding up, slowing down, or changing direction.